My friends told me several times that I have a skill to coordinate chaos, and I know I do. And it comes from several things, but there is one thing I know that had a major impact on me is as I grew up, when my parents divorced, suddenly I found myself in a huge chaos. And since I looked around and there were nobody taking responsibility, so I took the responsibility, and that taught me I was basically forcing myself to create an order in the chaos. That made me a different person, I think, in a good way as well, which means I'm absolutely not afraid of chaotic situations, but I don't like them. It's not like I like to be in chaos. I like the dynamic of being in chaos and creating an order in chaos. So when I came across, I think it was an online advertisement, I saw a T-shirt that said Chaos Coordinator. So I usually don't like T-shirts with funny lines, but I purchased it and I'm proudly wearing it because it's part of my identity. I'm a chaos coordinator, and early stage investment is super chaotic. So both on the human level, tech level, um, it's amorph. It can go so many ways, and I love that. Why? Because in a controlled environment, a predefined and controlled clean environment, there is efficiency, but innovation is not happening there at all. Like it cannot by nature. So unstructured is trying to become structured, and once it's structured, it then also wants to go back to the unstructured. And I love this cycle. So when we take the example of venture studio working with a startup, in our case, how do we approach it? I talked about the human factor, the chaos, but then I like to start with the problem, the pain, and not with features and products. Because eventually the buyer, the client will focus on his or her pain or problem. That is the core issue. That's why we are providing services, creating products, trading, because there is a need and we want to fill that need. I like when founders become a bit obsessed with this because I think it's a healthy sign that they will actually make it. If you are obsessed with the client's problem, then two things will immediately happen. One is your client will recognize that and will love that because you can feel that you are seen, you are heard. But most of the startups that I work with, they always make the same mistake. They think if only we could develop another feature in our product, then then more people would buy it. Wrong. You need less features and more customer focus. Less product development at the beginning, more discussions with the clients. So maybe everybody knows this, yet so few actually do it. So my job is to ensure that I keep founders on track, like keep them in the focus. I think one reason why nobody likes to do that, or very few actually does that, is because it can be painful. Like you get rejected. Nobody likes to be rejected. I don't like to be rejected at all. But that's the process. But also what I learned lately is instead of classic validation of any idea, which is like, here is my product, would you be paying for that? I think that's a totally wrong question. Like, because again, it focuses on the product. So the discussion has to be about the client. And I think this is like the game changing moment when founders they let me push them into that situation, that it's okay to not deal with the product. So this is how it starts, becoming obsessed with the problem and the pain point of the client. So it all sounds good, right? But there are not enough resources at the early stage in the life of a startup. There's not enough time, there's not enough money, not enough people to help you. So very, very limited resources, which means two things. Once you spend your resources, you cannot go back. That will actually, it's a pressure because it almost feels like you have to make it right for the first time. Because if you don't, then you will not have a second chance. But you cannot get it right for the first time. It's almost impossible. So what's the best way to do it? And I also learned it, so it's not something I came up with. It's, I think, most commonly known as the lean approach, which is using minimal resources for maximum feedback. It's the mock-up, it's just the discussion. Working with limited resources requires creativity, a lot of duct tape solutions, workaround solutions, and it resonates very well with my sailing background. Like for example, when I crossed the Atlantic in the middle of the ocean, some things they broke on the boat. Actually, many things broke on the boat, including my head, and so injuries and engine broke down, and so on and so on. And there is no way to ask for help. And I think it's an analogy with a limited resources startup, because they have to make it work. Whatever the problem is, they have to make it work with whatever resources they have. Would it be, or let it be, mental resource or financial or infrastructure, network, whatever it is. But that requires one trait, which is not looking for excuses. Because if you are looking for excuses, like I couldn't validate my product because the market is so and so, but I think there is no learning from that. So learning comes by admitting, like, I didn't think of this and that, and because of that, so and so happened. So I take responsibility, hence I can learn something and I can apply it. It's not only the startups that I work with learn from me, but I learn from them, or we learn together, I would rather say that. I think having more experience is not enough. Drawing the right conclusions from your experience, that's what matters, not the number of the years. So I'm learning together with them. I'm learning new patterns and new techniques as well. But I'm also learning a lot about myself, because I get to challenge a lot. My patience or my humility or my competencies, whatever it is. Each project is different. There are so many decisions to be made, and most of the times you don't have enough, all the data for a good decision. So that's when gut feeling comes into play. And to me, gut feeling is not something of a mystical capability. It's actually science. It's pattern recognition of your body, of your full being, basically. I wouldn't even separate like body. Like our being has a lot of sensors, and a lot of patterns are picked up, and maybe not on a conscious level, but somehow you kind of sense it. And over the years, I learned to listen to that. By that, I mean it's easier for me to have access to my gut feeling. I don't push it down, or I don't ignore it so much as I used to do it. I just listen to it. That only means that I take it seriously. And I heard from somebody, a successful businesswoman, the way she hires people. And I really like that. And it's about gut feeling. And this is what she does. She's having an interview conversation with a person for potential candidate. Yeah. And after the candidate leaves, she stays in the room for maybe 2-3 minutes and just allows herself to recognize how she feels. And there is basically two ways to feel about people when you meet them and after you depart, like you say goodbye. One is relief. Oh, finally, now I can be myself. All of us know this feeling, right? Like finally I can be in my own mindset. Yeah. That's not a good sign. Or the other feeling is like, wow, this was maybe tiring, but wow, that was inspiring, like energizing. I want to meet with this person again. Like, I don't know, I could be myself with this person. That's when you know that you are on the right track. So gut feeling is not like a secret weapon, but all of us have it. We just need to learn back to have access to it and recognize it. My avatar or my role as a chaos coordinator, with the abilities of recognizing my own gut feelings, this enables me, I think, like with at least one power that I have, which is asking the right questions. And I think I do that to myself as well. Like, and my favorite question to ask, what are the questions that I'm not asking now that I should be asking? And that questions are the best way to escape chaos or find order in chaos, because they are narratives, basically. They direct your attention to a certain direction. And once you go there, everything else falls into this place or not. And you don't need to look at that way. So it directs the attention, and attention is actually the driver, the vector of action from that moment on. So I approach everything with questions to myself and to people I meet, to the world. This is the way I discover, and this is the way I handle chaos, and I extract value from chaos.